So I've always wondered how Yakone is a bloodbender, like how he learned to do it. And, well, I don't know if this has already been explained by the creators or by someone in canon, and maybe I just missed it, but I have my own theory on it. So I think that, so Hama is the first bloodbender, I am sure of it. I think Hama, the old woman who was taken to the Fire Nation by the Fire, who was captured by the Fire Nation and taken to the Fire Nation and forced to be in prison, and then she learned bloodbending and got out, and then spent the rest of her days terrorizing a Fire Nation town. And of course, Katara stopped her, and the old one was Hama was locked up. But I have a theory that maybe Hama escaped from prison. So Hama escaped from prison because she is a bloodbender. So how are they going to keep her in prison? And so Hama escaped from prison after Katara, Aang, and Toph and Sokka left. And so Hama escaped from prison, and maybe somewhere along the way, Hama ran into a waterbender, Yakone, and Hama trained him. Because I think Hama would have probably realized that Katara would not really bloodbend again, and how Katara would probably try her best to not bloodbend. So I think Hama would just try to find someone more sociopathic who can actually carry on the bloodbending tradition. So Hama would train a young man named Yakone, and Yakone would become a bloodbender, and Yakone would be Hama's apprentice. But then later on, Yakone will become more powerful and learn how to perfect the technique to where he can bloodbend without the full moon at all. And that's how Yakone got so good. But I think Yakone probably initially learned from Hama. And in regards to Hama, it's possible she just taught Yakone and then just retired somewhere else. Or it's possible that perhaps Hama might have gone back to the Southern Water Tribe. And so maybe... And it's interesting because Yakone mentioned how Katara outlawed bloodbending and how bloodbending is widely known throughout the world. And my question is, well, if it was only Aang, Katara, Toph, and Sokka in the Fire Nation village who knew about Hama, and, Katara learned bloodbending, but she never used it again. I mean, she used it once in front of Zuko, and Zuko was very shocked by it. But the point is, Katara never really used bloodbending except for that one time, those 2 times. So why in the world would you need to let the world know about bloodbending by making it illegal? Like, wouldn't it just be better to not talk about it at all and just have it suppressed? But why would you need to publicize it and make it so, like, why would you need to publicize it like that? And my guess is, I think it's possible that, so it goes back to my theory that I just mentioned. So I think Hama escaped from prison, had an apprentice, Yakone, and maybe she had a few apprentices. Maybe she trained a handful of waterbenders. And so those waterbenders that Hama trained carried on the bloodbending technique, and Katara realized that bloodbenders were out there, and so she did her best to apprehend and imprison them, and then made bloodbending illegal because maybe the practice of bloodbending was now widely known to the public thanks to Hama's escape and her teaching other people. And in regards to Hama, I think maybe after Hama escapes, she teaches the bloodbending technique, and then she realizes that she's just terrible and learns to regret what she's done, and so she finally comes to terms with it and asks for forgiveness, and maybe she goes back to the Southern Water Tribe. And I think Grand Kana, having been Hama's friend all those years ago, I think Grand would probably convince Katara to forgive Hama, and Hama would just spend the rest of her life in the Southern Water Tribe in peace. Or I guess it's possible that Hama escaped from prison and then went to the Southern Water Tribe, and Grand convinced Katara and everyone to accept Hama and just take her in. But Hama still had other cards up her sleeve, and Hama decided to train people in the Southern Water Tribe to be bloodbenders, and that's how the technique got spread out, and how the bloodbending virus, per se, was released into the world. So those are my theories.